Welcome, my special little imp,
to Summongreaterpod,
a podcast about homebrew and homies.
indeed. And today, Liberty.
Liberty, Bibberty, bro.
Liberty, Bibberty.
We've been gaming lately.
Sad but true.
If you couldn't tell just by looking at us, we've been playing a game called Helldivers 2. It's really good. If you like roguelikes, if you like Metal Gear, if you like silly little satire.
And Halo.
Is it like Halo?
Yeah. It's like Halo Reach.
Oh.
Like, for those of you who've played the final mission of Halo Reach, that's basically Helldivers, but you actually get out at the end.
I'm gonna trust you.
That is the only Halo game I actually have played. But I've heard Halo 3 ODST, they're all very, very similar to Helldivers.
So if you've been playing this game, you know that it's kind of alive. It's kind of constantly moving. Everybody who's playing currently is kind of working as a team. Obviously, you're all part of the same army. But what only recently came out is that there was a person steering everything, and I'm not talking about just like the developers. Obviously, like they have a degree of control over
the game itself.
And like the story and everything. But I'm telling you that there's a game master.
There's a man.
There's a GM.
The screen.
There is a guy pulling all the strings. His name is Joel. PC Gamer reported on this. They interviewed Arrowhead Game Studios CEO Johan, I think
so, yeah.
Johan Pilstead, who told PC Gamer, "We have an actual person with the job title of Game Master. His name is Joel, and he takes his job very seriously. He's got control of everything, and his goal is just to keep things interesting." Which like later in this article, it cites how like sometimes he gets up in the middle of the night just to give the automatons reinforcements.
That's so freaking cool, man. I think there's something really, really fun about the fact that this guy is essentially DMing for hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And like you said, the story is going to be what the players are going to make it. And in such a broad scoped game, the DM basically just giving them combat and world information is enough for the players to like make their own story. Because you can have a group of 4 people that are dedicated, they play every day, whatever, and they have their like little clan of Helldivers, and they've decided that, oh, my Helldiver's name is Steve and he's got a wife back home named Judy. I don't know. Like, there can be people on here that are like absolutely into the storyline, and they're like, for Super Earth, Liberty, all that stuff. And then there can be, random Kevin who gets on for a couple hours every night or one night a week, whatever it might be, to just do some gaming and hops into random lobbies. And that's okay. He doesn't need to have a story, but because there is combat and world, it's fun. It's accessible to everybody.
Yeah. I think this kind of approach is going to do a lot to keep this game feeling fresh and interesting for an extremely long time. Like, beyond what just, a rotating battlefield or a battle pass might get your game.
Yeah.
Obviously, Fortnite is what I'm referencing. Still ridiculously successful. It's branching off into like becoming its own platform now, which I actually think is kind of cool. While Helldivers might not see the success that has, it would be cool if it did. I think playing this long term is gonna feel more rewarding for people who have been through it since the beginning or just early on.
The other thing I was going to mention when you mentioned the battle pass, this game is really nice. I know we've seen it in other games before where like you purchase the battle pass one time And then if you make it all the way through the battle pass, you have enough credits by the end of it to buy the next battle pass without spending any actual money. Helldivers does it so much better because the battle passes don't go away. There's no seasons of battle pass. So you earn in-game currency, and you can use that in-game currency to consistently and regularly purchase the higher tier currency. And you can spend it on a rotating small stock of things that are in the game, or you can save up and buy the premium battle pass. It's your choice. And you have a consistent way of gaining that currency that you can buy with actual money if you want to. But if you play the game regularly, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
No matter what.
I think that kind of approach is extremely, if you're going to have that kind of like, premium function in a game like this and have it cost $40 to play the game.
Yeah.
You need to do that.
Yeah.
Like you need to have that be accessible in some way. I get like still doing the microtransactions to speed up the process.
Yeah.
If you're a fucking whale, but this is good. It's not, I can't call it free to play because the game costs $40, but like, at the cheapest tier of play, everything is accessible.
It's free
by playing the game.
It's free to return is kind of how I would put it, in a very loose way of putting it. Because
what do you mean return?
Comparing it to a game like Destiny.
Yeah.
You pay the money, you have the game, you can progress in the game to earn the currency to get the new things that are coming out.
Yeah.
In Destiny, you can't do that. You buy the game, you have the base game.
Yeah.
You have to purchase battle passes, you have to purchase DLCs.
I don't like that.
And if you don't, you fall behind and you are off meta and you can no longer play, especially in like LFGs looking for groups, because people will kick you if you don't have the meta guns.
Yeah. Yep.
So Helldivers, you pay the money, and that is theoretically the only money you will have to spend on that game ever.
Yeah. I think Arrowhead is doing a lot to keep this feeling fair for everybody.
Yeah. Another fun thing about just gameplay, I was telling you, there was a one day where I was playing and you weren't able to hop on. I actually just hit the like link me up with people thing and just see what happens. I got linked up. I'm like level 6. Like I am a baby Helldiver. I got linked up with someone that was like level 22 and they had the difficulty set crazy high. I died a lot, but every single time they were calling the reinforcements to bring me back in, and they were like protecting me and trying to get me into a good position.
Yeah.
And this is all without comms.
Yeah.
There was no mic.
It's incentivized to do that.
Yeah. So I love games that are like big multiplayer co-op games. I hate playing against other people because inevitably you're going to get frustrated at the other people.
It gets toxic. It will.
Yeah. But in this community, it is built in such a way that in order to be toxic, you have to find a way to be toxic.
Yeah, like the farming thing that people have been doing.
Yeah, killing your teammates, like it's dumb because you all come out of it with the exact same rewards no matter who gets them.
You sent me a really funny TikTok the other day.
Oh, which one was that?
It was just like a screen recording of a guy team killing. And then the thing though is like the video isn't funny itself. It's the comments that were crazy because now everyone knows that guy's name.
Oh yeah. There's the one guy that immediately became famous for team killing.
Yeah.
There's a TikTok channel that like is branding itself as like the Super Earth Broadcast Network.
Yeah.
So freaking funny.
That's really funny. Yeah.
But yeah, loving the idea of a video game that no one would ever assume to be compared to D&D has compared itself to D&D.
Yeah.
And has made itself like, this is being funny about it. This is the missing link between TTRPGs, tabletop roleplay games, and video games. Like being able to say like the whole thing, your first person shooter game that you hop on to just slaughter bugs and turn brain off is actually very, very much in the same realm as D&D, where you sit down with your friends and roll dice and talk about your character's backstory. Like the link between them is so fun.
Yeah. I would love to see devs take this idea and just run with it. Because can you imagine something like, even if it's on like a smaller scale, and this happens on like a private server level where there's like an admin GM role, can you imagine this happening for like a StarCraft type game?
Yeah.
Or like something that came to mind that I'm still trying to like piece together on the fly is I would love to see this type of thing for Fire Emblem type of combat.
Dude, that would be sick.
That would be so interesting.
Yeah, program an AI that's like a chess model of combat.
No, make it a person. Fuck the AI.
Well, you're right. That was not where I meant to go with that. not an AI, but like, yeah, a person that directs how things should be prioritized in combat.
Yeah.
Also, they're getting re-released soon. Imagine this for the original first and second Star Wars Battlefront games. Like the Galactic Conquest.
Damn. Yeah. Oh, that would actually go really hard for Battlefront.
Right?
Oh, no. Do we need a Star Wars? Honestly, though.
Dude, Star Wars Helldivers would go so fucking hard.
Yeah. Like just I mean, Empire Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Like the original Starship Troopers was obviously biting Star Wars shit back in the 90s. It's such an easy crossover.
There's a specific quest line that you can get in Helldivers where like you drop and the whole objective is defeat the Brood Commander.
Yeah.
Which is like a big, massive bug. Imagine that with go defeat the Jedi. Yeah. And you could do that. Oh, wow. You could do that for a lot of different eras in Star Wars also. Yeah. Like you could have that in the Clone Wars. Yeah. I think
on both sides of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What I would really love to see if they did do something like that, increase the player cap. Like instead of squads of 4, have it be like squads of 16.
16. Yeah.
It would be a little harder to create and to run, but if you're fighting a Jedi, having 16 people, like
you would need much larger scale missions.
16 players obviously would be a bit tougher to manage, and communication between that many people would be a little more chaotic and could probably get more toxic. But I think it would be cool as far as like having larger scale.
I think there's a way. It would I feel like it would end up looking like WoW raids.
Oh, see, I've never done one of those. Yeah. So
it's a highly coordinated effort.
Okay.
Yeah. Like maybe that, I don't know, that wouldn't be great for like a quick play style matchmaking like that.
What if they did regular like Helldivers format, 4 players for basic world objectives, and then if there's a boss, they could actually put in like a raid type event where you'd have 16 people.
Yeah. Man, thinking about having like a raid group in a Star Wars war sim like that.
Yeah, man.
It'd be so sick.
Cause like, oh man, cause you could. So what Helldivers is doing is you can unlock different armor and different weapons and things like that. If we were doing Star Wars and we were going by Stormtroopers, you could unlock different classifications of Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
And then edit and upgrade your armor within that classification. So like Arc Trooper or like the Heavy Trooper with the Gatling guns.
Yeah.
How fucking cool would that be, man?
Or like in the other direction, Super Battle Droid or Droidica with like various augments and modifications. All this to say, moment of silence for Malevelon Creek. You found something.
I found something. Boy, do I have a surprise for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm excited.
this is a homebrew D&D class.
Okay, a whole class.
I'm going to try to omit the giveaway words as much as I can here,
Okay.
because I want to see if you can guess it.
This is based on something then? Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going to start straight in with class features.
Okay.
Hit die is 1d10 per level. So it's 10 plus your con modifier at level 1, and then you go up from there. Proficiencies in all armor and shields, simple and martial weapons. You gain proficiency in charisma and constitution saving throws. And you can choose 2 skills from acrobatics, arcana, athletics, intimidation, perception, or persuasion.
Okay.
Starting equipment, 1 martial weapon and a shield, or 2 martial weapons. Chainmail or a chain shirt, and an explorer's pack or a dungeoneer's pack. Level abilities. Here we go. At first level, you find a mask of your choice. An arcane mask of great power.
Fuck. Okay.
While wearing it, you benefit from its effects. You can find or craft additional masks at level 4, 7, 11, 14, and 17.
Yeah.
You may switch which mask you are wearing as an action, losing the benefits of your current mask and gaining the benefits of the new one. What do you got? What do you think?
This is a Toa.
This is the Toa.
Oh, fuck, dude. Okay.
I was trying so hard to see if anyone had made a Bionicle source book. There isn't one yet.
Man.
But
I think there's quite a bit to work with.
Well, that's baffling to me, because you could make an entire setting around Bionicle.
I mean, you have the monsters to work with.
Oh yeah.
You have, I mean, the whole setting. Yeah.
It is a D&D campaign.
It is. It's a few.
Oh yeah.
To be honest.
Generational D&D campaigns.
Yeah. Okay.
So
keep going.
This is level 1, the Kanohi mask. Also at level 1, you choose an element. Choose between fire, water, earth, ice, stone, air, light, darkness, or psionic.
It's interesting that it just gives you those last 3.
Yeah. I figured there would be something you'd have to do to like unlock them later.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Yeah.
This determines all the spells you learn and grants a feature at 3rd level and determines your Nova Blast ability.
No.
Spellcasting ability. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for your Toa spells. You use your charisma whenever a spell refers to your spellcasting ability, blah, 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 blah. Spell save DC and attack modifier are all based on charisma. Toa tool. You may spend 1 hour bonding with 1 weapon or a set of 2 weapons that can be dual wielded together, causing them to become Toa tools. This weapon or group of weapons may be used as a spellcasting focus.
Nice.
If you bond with different weapons, the old weapons become normal. At 6th level, you gain Elemental Warrior. When you cast a cantrip with a casting time of 1 action, you may make a weapon attack as a bonus action. At 15th level, when you cast a spell with a casting time of 1 action, you can make a weapon attack as a bonus action. At level 10, you gain Kanohi Adept. You may now switch your active Kanohi mask as a bonus action. At level 18, you gain Nova Blast. If you have all of your spell slots, you may expend all of them to cast a high-level spell determined by your element. 20th level, you gain Golden Kanohi. All of your masks combine into a Golden Kanohi mask. Yeah. While wearing this mask, you gain the benefits from all 6 of them.
Nice. That's a good 20th level bonus.
It's so cool. For your elements, ice. Gives you a bunch of ice spells. My favorites are obviously Armor of Agathis, Ice Knife, Misty Step, Moonbeam, Sleet Storm, and like Cone of Cold and stuff like that. Very fun. Also has the ability Freeze. When you use a spell or weapon attack to deal cold damage to a creature that is immune to cold damage, it is instead considered resistant. In addition, the first time in a round that a creature receives cold damage dealt by one of your spells or weapon attacks, their armor class is decreased by 2 until the start of your next turn. Your Ice Nova Blast is called Comet Storm. When you use your Nova Blast, you cast Meteor Swarm. When cast this way, the spell's fire damage is replaced with cold damage.
Good.
Fire gets a bunch of spells: Fireball, Flaming Sphere, Scorching Ray, Wall of Fire, Conjure Elemental. That's another one that Ice gets a water elemental, Fire gets a fire elemental.
Okay.
Intense Heat. When you use a spell or weapon attack to deal fire damage to a creature immune, it is instead considered resistant. In addition, when you cast a spell that deals fire damage, you may add your Charisma modifier to a single damage roll of the fire damage. Nova Blast is regular Meteor Swarm. Air has its own spells. Acrobatic Agility is one of its abilities. At 3rd level, you may dash or disengage as a bonus action. The Nova Blast for Air is Storm of Vengeance. Earth gets Wall Crawler. You gain a climbing speed of 20 feet, and your Nova Blast is Earthquake. Stone. This is one of my favorites. Stone, you get Rock Creation. As a bonus action, you can create a tiny, small, or medium boulder in an empty space on the ground within 5 feet of you. A creature standing within 5 feet of the rock may make a melee weapon attack or unarmed strike, batting the rock at an opponent. Make a ranged weapon attack using the weapon's attack modifier and do an amount of bludgeoning damage equal to the weapon's damage. You may only have one conjured rock at a time. If you create a new one, the first one becomes dust. As a bonus action, you may also have it turn into dust. At 5th level, you can create 2 rocks when you use this feature. Nova Blast, you can cast Invulnerability.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm. Water gets all of its spells, and at 3rd level, you gain a swimming speed of 30 feet. Nova Blast for water is Mass Heal.
Nice, okay.
Which, yeah, it's really, really fun. Darkness is where it gets interesting. It gets just some like necromancy spells. Crown of Madness, Distant Whispers, Summon Lesser Demons, Summon Greater Demons, Conjure Aberration, Infernal Calling, blah, 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 blah. You get the ability Bloodthirst. When you kill a creature of at least CR 1/8 with a spell or weapon attack, you gain an amount of temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. Nova Blast is Maddening Darkness.
Okay.
Light, you gain spells such as Guiding Bolt, Spiritual Weapons, Spirit Guardians, very Cleric Paladin.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
At 3rd level, you gain Smite, which is just Paladin Smite.
Wow.
So good.
Okay.
Nova Blast is you can cast Sunburst.
Oh, wow.
And then for Psionics, you get spells like Silent Image, Charm Person, Phantasmal Force, Counterspell, Confusion, Telekinesis, things like that. And your ability is Kinetic Push. At 3rd level, as a bonus action, you may force a creature of large size or smaller to make a strength saving throw, or be pushed away from you or pulled towards you up to 5 feet. This distance increases to 10 feet at 5th level, 20 feet at 11th level, and 30 feet at 17th level. And then your Nova Blast, you can cast Psychic Scream.
Oh my god. Wow.
It has a few stats for unique weapons in the Bionicle world. Very, very few. Digger Claw, Hook, Kicking Shoes, and Torch Staff.
Cool. And
then you also get a throwing disc and a disc launcher.
Oh, man.
Yup.
That's great.
Cool. And then there is a list of like, I think over a dozen of the Kanohi Masks of Power that you can find.
Oh, sick. Are they like magic items?
They're
technically?
No, they're specifically masks for
they're just for this. Okay, interesting.
Kanohi Mask ability.
Okay. So this is definitely fitted for like a specified setting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think theoretically you could work it into any setting if you talk to your DM about the whole mask thing, but it would go really, really well in a dedicated setting.
It would. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so you have How, the Mask of Shielding. You learn the spell Shield, cast it once per long rest without expending spell slot. You gain additional uses at level 5s, 11, and 17.
Mhm.
Pakari, the Mask of Strength. Once per turn, you can add 1d4 to the damage roll of a melee weapon or spell attack. Damage increases at certain levels. And you also gain proficiency in strength saving throws. If you're already proficient in strength saves, you gain a +1 bonus that increases at multiple levels. Akaku, Mask of Vision. You can cast Detect Magic and Identify as ritual spells and gain Dark Vision to 30 feet. As you get higher in levels, you can cast them once per day at will. Or not once per day, just at will. And then at 17th level, you can cast True Seeing at will.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like how they evolve with your level.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's really cool. Mask of Levitation. You can cast Featherfall on yourself at will. And at 5th level, you gain a fly speed of 15 feet, increasing incrementally. At 17th level, your fly speed is 45 feet. Cow, the Mask of Water. Swim speed of 30 feet. If you already have a swim speed, it's increased by 20. You gain proficiency in con saves. Kakama, the Mask of Speed. While wearing this mask, your speed increases by 10 feet. It increases an additional 5 feet at levels 5, 11, and 17. Rao, the Mask of Translation. Comprehend languages and can cast it at will. And there's like 8, 9 more of these. And you can gain up to 6 of them as you level up and then combine them at the very end. I love this so much. We've talked about how much we miss Bionicle. We've talked about waiting for that fan-made game that's sitting on Steam in production. I want it so bad.
Yeah.
I was just on a whim yesterday. I was like, I wonder if anyone's made a D&D source book, because that would be something I would love to talk about.
Again, lends itself so well to a TTRPG setting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man, at the very least, this has me wanting to look into monsters.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because you can make those. You can make any monster in any setting. Almost.
Dude, the Rakshi.
Yeah.
Would be so good.
Yeah.
I also need to. I used to have a book of all of the creatures of the Bionicle world based off of Lego had a building contest one time, and they basically said, build a Bionicle monster and take a picture of it and turn it in. And if we like it, we will keep that and put it into the lore.
Yeah.
And use it in the world. So almost every picture and monster in that book, and I shouldn't say almost every, I'd say about 75% of the creatures and monsters and pictures in that book were ones that were fan submitted. And
wow.
It was so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, guess what?
What?
We got an email again.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's from Leaf.
Oh, cool.
Whose name is pronounced Leaf and not Life.
He did specify that.
He was very gracious in correcting us.
That's okay. Sorry, Leaf. We will. We got it right this time. He's the one who sent us the Arcadia.
Yes.
The Greek mythology setting.
Yes. This other thing he sent us this week is very cool. Also, this is
very fun.
Yeah. This is Brancalonia.
This one is through Acheron Games. Was Arcadia also through Acheron?
It was not. That was through. I forgot.
We mentioned it in that episode.
We did specify in the episode. So. That was a different group of people that made that. It was very good. Brancalonia is expansive as hell.
They've got books on books in this setting.
They have so much going on. This, like, we can't. We're not going to come close to giving a comprehensive overview even of the setting. It just is very in depth, very well thought out.
Yeah,
it's Italy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was a Kickstarter, so they had like tiers, and there's like Brancalonia dice that you can get, and I think they had like 6 books for it.
I couldn't I don't know how
remember.
many.
Check it out on
believe
Acheron Games. It's on there and it's phenomenal.
We're gonna take a look at some stuff from the first one, the setting book here.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of changes in here that we kind of want to focus on. Let's cover some of the basics of how things work in Brancalonia. Obviously, everything in here is made for the setting itself.
Yeah, and I do want to add in there, most of this is at least like 25% satirical. This setting labels itself as spaghetti fantasy.
Yeah.
that is like the subtitle
It's really
of the
funny.
book. But there is a lot of really comprehensive mechanics and rules and things in here.
Yeah.
Despite it being kind of a joke and kind of a bibbidi boppity boopity, it's really, really cool.
Well, there's also like kind of analogs for basically everything. Like, you know, the history of like the Roman Empire and artists in Italy's past and authors and their works are emulated somewhat.
Yeah.
You know, everything's got like names changed and things are revised to fit an interesting D&D setting. And this is, by the way, based on 5e per the SRD rules. But some things are changed significantly. You are a much more realistic vagabond than you are a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is called a knave in this game. Very much intended for you to be in like a band of no goods, low lives, brigands.
Picture like Robin Hood type of thing.
Yeah.
It's very that.
that is your setting. You are not nobility. You are not. Again, you're not a hero. You're not even really an artist. You're just a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. And there's really no, I am connected to this or that god or descended from a spirit, whatever. You're just fucking people.
Yep.
You're just dudes.
Yep.
Dudes and chicks out on an adventure.
Oh yeah. And this game kind of has a rhythm to it. You take your jobs. You go kill some shit, steal some shit, and then you frolic, you rest. That's one of the first things I want to talk about is the rest mechanic in Brancalonia. This is a huge change from 5e. A short rest is 8 hours. A long rest is a week. And I think it makes sense.
I like it. It's the perfect adjustment for like a gritty realism type of game.
In a world that is supposed to, you know, emulate our own centuries ago, plus adding in just like a smattering of magic based on like, you know, mythology of the time. A week to recover from wounds that you receive while out on some adventure makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, I could see testing this in a D&D setting. The thing with D&D is that like the game wants you, it incentivizes you to go and fight shit and dungeon crawl as much as possible. And this game does not. It discourages you from doing that. It encourages you to roleplay a hell of a lot and build relationships in your community.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said for using these mechanics in certain like times in your D&D campaign, and then going the other direction at times when you have a much longer dungeon that's probably going to take several sessions.
Yeah.
Were you the one who was telling me about shortening the short rest and long rest?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember exactly what you said, but what popped into my head was like a short rest is like 10 minutes and a long rest is like 3 hours or something like that. Like if you're in a big dungeon, you're not going to be able to take a full 8 hours of rest.
No.
I think it makes sense thematically and for the game to have your long rests and short rests take differing amounts of time depending on what's going on.
It's tough to like oscillate between rest styles, just because like healing magic in D&D is like a huge deal.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe I can see it working as like you recover spell slots on this longer 8-hour short rest like you would on a long rest, but not HP.
Yeah. Spell slots would be like 8 hours of downtime rather than specifying a long or short rest.
The Knaves of the Kingdom regard resting in a different way than adventurers do elsewhere. In Brancalonia, players are recommended to use a short rest of 8 hours that must be taken in absence of any particular inconvenience or hassle, and a long rest of 7 days to be taken under the same conditions and preferably in their den or in a cozy dive. In particular, the game works better if the job and the rollick, which we'll talk about a little bit, if the job and the rollick phases, and therefore the rest of those of rest and energy recovery, are traded separately from each other and proposed in sequence. First you finish your job, then you can rest. The rollick is the moment dedicated to pure revelry, rest, and refreshment between the different phases of the game. Some smarty pants might also call it the period of downtime, but around here we call it rollick because that's what we do. Relax and chill. This is not an actual rule. It's more of a game dynamic that we highly suggest, especially if you are using the rules for a bunch of other things we didn't discuss. Since the Knave's Rest lasts an entire week, the
Condottiero.
It's the GM.
Yeah, the word they give for the GM.
And the players should agree that any long rest should be taken between medium or short length adventures, avoiding taking long rests on the job.
Can we also just mention how hilarious it is that their monster manual is called the Macaronicon?
Yeah. It's really funny. Macaroni.
Yeah. So again, I love the concept of the short and long rests being longer, because one thing that has been historically more difficult to really plan and plot out has been downtime in D&D. Like you have to really, really sit and go, this is what I want my character to do. This is what I would like to have happen in this period of downtime. And the DM will maybe make you make a set of arbitrary rolls and be like, okay, a month passes. Here's what happened to you. Here's what happened to you. Here's what happened to you. I think that this setting and these mechanics gives you more that you can actually do in a session to promote the idea of you are in downtime. Your long rest takes you 7 days. What do you want to do during those 7 days? Do you want to talk to any vendors or contacts, whatever? Because they have mechanics for that later on as well. So I really like this specifically for doing like in a big city downtime for your D&D camp, your D&D party.
The setting has a style of non-lethal combat that I want to talk about. It's called a brawl. This really caught my eye. Brancalonia has specific mechanics for the management and resolution of non-lethal fights called brawls. Said brawls are carefully thought out to act as boisterous and amusing intervals. They can be used to start an adventure, animate slower moments, enliven a job with unusual challenges, or simply as a fun alternative to ease the stressful pace of the deadly fights that can put the band to the test. The following brawl rules are considered optional. If players do not intend to use them, they can easily skip them. So everything is going to work differently. You're not really using hit points and movement or dealing damage in quite the same way. For movement, on a player's turn during the brawl, participants can move an unspecified distance. This enables them to move as much or as little as they like within the brawl's environment. If the movement of your brawler is 0, they cannot move. No hit points are lost in a brawl. Beatings, moves, and stage props all deal whacks, which we'll talk about in a moment. When using a move or dealing out a beating, if the d20 roll is a 20, the number of whacks dealt is doubled.
Amazing.
During a brawl, damage from beatings, moves, and props deal 1 or more whacks. Whacks are measured in 6 levels. We'll talk about those. If an already whacked creature suffers another whack, its current level of Its current level of wax increases by the amount specified in the specific effects description. Oh my god. So here's the table I was talking about. Levels 1 through 6 are bruised, beaten, injured, damaged, crushed, and unconscious.
Sam, self-explanatory.
Each one of these 1 through 5 are -1 AC.
That stacks.
Yes, it stacks.
Assume. Yeah.
And then 6 is flat out. Some moves and hits with epic props inflict additional conditions. Conditions imposed by moves and props follow the normal rules for conditions. All condition effects last until the end of the affected creature's next turn. Beatings are the regular attacks that each character can make as an action during a brawl.
Oh my god.
Each player character is proficient in beatings.
I'm so sorry. Yes, my name is John. I am proficient in beatings. These hands are rated E for everyone.
Each time a beating successfully hits, it deals 1 whack. Oh my god.
Christ.
Moves can have various effects, some of which provide an attack roll based on a specific ability, plus the character's proficiency bonus. Each character is proficient in every move they know. All moves require the expense of a move slot, like Pokemon. Except it's not like Pokemon because you get more than 4, typically anyway. You have a number of move slots based on your character level. We're going to have to talk about level in a little bit.
Yeah.
The move slots are recovered at the end of the brawl.
Brief interjection.
Yes.
So that everyone knows. This setting is designed so that you really only progress to level 6.
Yes.
And if you want to go beyond level 6, there is a slight tweak to like an epic level kind of a thing.
We'll get to how that works in a minute.
Yeah. So you're roughly going to have maximum of 6 move slots.
So given those levels, you have a different amount of you have a differing amount of options that you have access to in a brawl. Also, I was totally right about it being like Pokemon. 4 is in fact the max amount of move slots you can have.
Oh.
At level 1, you have 1 general move plus a class brawl feature, and you start with 2 move slots. You keep 2 move slots when you level up to 2, where you get heroic ignorance. You can use a characteristic of your choice when you make a beating. 3, you get a new general move. You're up to 3 now. 4, you get Iron Jaw. You can spend a move slot and use your reaction to remove a condition that affects you.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like a legendary resistance a little bit. 5, you get a new general move. This gets you up to 4, which you will keep at level 6, where you get your Ace in the Hole. Where's Ace in the Hole?
I think it tells you that on the next page.
It sure does. The Ace in the Hole is a high-level, super secret move, usable only once per brawl. And there is 1 per class.
There are a lot of moves listed on here. This is like actually reading through a Pokemon's learn set.
Kinda, yeah. This is very funny. Barbarians get float like a butterfly. Until the start of your next turn, you can't take wax or suffer conditions. Bards get Heartbreaking Note. As an action, you hit the most Heartbreaking Note.
Damn.
Each brawl participant must succeed on a con save or take 1 whack and become incapacitated. Should. All friendly creatures have advantage on the saving throw. Cleric, if you're listening, help. As an action, you summon your saints and a stray danger hits all your enemies. Stray dangers are an additional threat that the GM may decide to introduce during the brawl. Let's see.
Rain of
Stools. They truly are just like stage hazards here. Rain of Stools, House of the Flying Punches,
River of Beer,
Flower Snow. Get off me. What is that one?
Barrel in Peril.
Everyone gets restrained on a failed dex save, strength save rather. Barrel in Peril. That's funny. Animal House. And it's raining ham. All sorts of cured and cold meats suddenly fall down from the ceiling. What the fuck? This is so silly.
Yeah. Not going to get into every single one of them, but suffice to say, this is the like Looney Tunes battle of D&D.
Yeah.
There's also, back on the previous page, there are also stage props that you can use to hit people.
Let me look at the stage props. I'm not going to get into general moves and magic moves. They're about like, the Pokemon sort of moves that you might be expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But they're very cool, and you should check out this source book, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stage props. You can inflict beatings by using anything you can get a hold of in the environment in which the brawl takes place. Might be a bottle, pot, cutlery, dishes, candelabras, torches, etc. Picking up a common prop requires a bonus action. Each character can use a common prop in the following ways: to make a beating by adding 1d4 to the attack roll, to make a beating as a bonus action, or to increase the knave's AC by 2 as a reaction to an opponent's attack. You can defend yourself a little bit.
That's cool.
Might work, might not. Epic props: tables, barrels, suits of armor, chests, trunks, chandeliers, etc.
Other characters.
Yes. That's good. That's good. Grabbing an epic prop requires an action. Each character can use an epic prop in the following ways: to make a beating that deals 1 extra whack, to make a beating that additionally inflicts the stunned condition to the target, to make a beating that hits 2 targets. The attack roll must be made against the highest AC, or to increase the knave's AC by 5, as you would expect from flipping up a table.
Yeah.
That one's a reaction to an opponent's attack.
So cool.
Of course, you still have to use an action to grab the prop, so you got to strategize a little bit. I like everything that's happening here. To be honest, this is a fun little mini game.
Yeah.
Or just primary style of combat, even.
Yeah, you totally could. I think it slots in perfectly to the question of how do we do bar fights in D&D? Because there are a lot of different ways you can do them. You can do them where you have your normal amount of hit points, and then when you run out of your hit points, you're knocked out. You're not dead. But I like this way. I think it's way more fun.
Yeah. I think that's a good time. I think it would be interesting to run a campaign with very few D&D elements and have this be the primary way you do combat.
Yeah.
Just as an option, which this module gives you many of.
Right.
So let's talk about the levels a little bit. Knaves only progress to level 6, and after that, every 9,000 XP, you have access to something called emeritances, which are basically feats.
Yeah, they're like epic level feats.
Yeah, absolute emeritances increase your proficiency bonus by 1 to a maximum of +4. So you can take this multiple times, I think.
Theoretically,
if I'm reading that right.
Yeah, I think you technically could. It just depends on what your proficiency bonus maxes out at 6th level.
Okay,
because
maybe you can't take this multiple times. It's just just a specification for it.
I think your proficiency bonus at 6th level would be +3, so you can take this once to get to +4.
You can only take that one if you already have 2 emeritances. Band together, you can take the help action as a bonus action. That's very
nice.
Cool. Beefy. Your hit point maximum increases. You gain additional hit points equal to 6 plus your con mod.
Which doesn't sound like a lot when you're thinking about high level D&D, but keep in mind they're staying at level 6, so that's a lot.
Yep. I consider this balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Professional Brawler. I'm going to jump around a bit.
Yeah,
you can take this one twice if you wish. You get an additional move slot, and you learn a new move from the general move list.
That's so cool.
Indomitable. You're immune to the frightened condition.
Yes.
All of this stuff, by the way, is very much giving experienced adventurer for this setting. Like you can picture a guy.
Yeah.
That is any of these. The Indomitable one just makes so much sense. This guy's not scared of shit. What are you talking about?
I really like favored weapon. Choose a specific type of weapon. When you use a weapon of the chosen type, you can add your proficiency bonus to damage rolls.
Yeah. I mean,
just little things.
That's a guy who talks about his weapon all the fucking time.
I've had this axe since I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, gift of feat. It's not a cop out, but what am I trying to say? It feels like it has to be here. You can take a feat of your choice.
Yeah. So there's an entirely different set of list of feats that the setting gives you.
Just completely opens the floor. And also, of course, maybe feats that aren't in this book and just in D&D to begin with.
Yeah.
I like the leveling system of this game. It makes complete sense.
I would like to talk about misdeeds, bounties, and notoriety.
Please do. I have not looked into that.
With all the rogues, losers, and bootlickers like you out and about, the kingdom could fill 10,000 galleys, and even wage war on the enemies overseas. But lo and behold, you're still roaming the towns and countryside, making trouble wherever you go, and no one seems capable of putting an end to this scourge. At the creation of the knaves, players should consider that every one of them has already done misdeeds, has a bounty on their head, and has a particular notoriety. These three elements, misdeeds, bounties, and notoriety, tend to grow with the succession of jobs to which the knaves will dedicate themselves. The number of misdeeds attributed to them will grow, their bounty will increase, and their notoriety will make them more and more feared and respected, but also more and more known to the guards and the common people. So, the progression of this, I love this so much. There is a table. There is a D20 table of misdeeds that have specific bounty values. So these are things you can do while you are on an adventure, on a job, whatever it may be. And these things, any of these things that you do, the DM can mark down. And at the end of the adventure, your bounty gets updated and whatever. So I'm just going to read a few of these. From 1 to 20, 1 being the least infraction-like, and number 20 being, oh god, you really fucked up. Nighttime disturbance or disturbing the peace has a bounty value of 2 gold. I love unauthorized sermon, beguiling, or silver tonguing. Unpaid meal, food or drink. Those are all 2 gold. They're like 1 through 4 on the D20. There's some other ones in there, but theft of chickens and other poultry is a much higher at 4 gold. It is right up there with adultery or marital bed abandonment. If you leave your wife,
bro,
you gain a bounty of 4 gold.
Everything's a crime.
Yeah.
I love it.
Another good one. Con, fraud, scam, or aggravated joke has a bounty of 8 gold. Petty theft and pilfering is 10 gold. Pickpocketing is 10 gold. Hex, curse, or tedious extravaganza is 10 gold. Tax evasion is on here.
Nice.
12 gold. Corruption, insolvency, or unpaid taxes. Resisting arrest, interruption of public execution is 15 gold. Documents and coins forgery is 18 gold. Smuggling of monstrosities, dragons, magical beasts, or aberrations is 20 gold. And then the highest one is betrayal, espionage, or desertion, which is also 20. So the table of misdeeds is of great importance for the players and the GM because it is used to determine which crimes, misdemeanors, and felonies were committed by the knaves before starting their adventures or on their adventures. They're really, really fun to use for before starting your adventures because it can help you really, really set up the story of your character. If you can tell the GM, like, hey, I think my character would have done this, this, and this from the misdeeds board, you almost just created a backstory just from the crimes they've committed. So there are some character creation bonuses for adding more or worse misdeeds. I won't get into all of that because I don't want to spoil the whole thing for you. But once your misdeeds have been determined, it is time to evaluate the bounty on a character's head. In order to do this, first record all the single gold piece rates charged for each misdeed. Now add up the total bounty value of all the misdeeds the knave is accused of, and there you go. So I think what that means is you just add the bounty value.
Of your party.
Yeah, so if you've committed one that's 4 gold and one that's 8 gold, your bounty's 12. And then the whole party or the whole band is like a conglomerate, add everything together. And your bounty influences your notoriety. Notoriety represents the reputation level of a single knave and influences a variety of interactions with the rest of the kingdom. The higher the bounty of a character, the greater the respect other knaves will show them, and the greater the fear they will be able to provoke in those who face them. Commoners, bourgeois, bigwigs, whatever. Knaves can take advantage of their notoriety to add their notoriety bonus to any charisma, persuasion, or intimidation check by appealing to their reputation. Infamous characters can still add their notoriety bonus to intimidation checks, but their notoriety's modifier is considered negative anytime they make a persuasion check. Infamous would be like you are known to be an evil or bad person.
Mm-hmm.
Your bounty level influences what your notoriety is and how that affects your adventures. If your bounty level is between 1 and 99, you have a cheap bounty and doesn't give you a notoriety bonus at all. On the job hazard board, which will tell the GM what inconvenient things happen while you're doing a job, you roll 2d100 and keep the lowest. So you're going to have probably a fairly low hazard.
Mm-hmm.
From 1 to 249 gold bounty, you get a half bounty. Again, roll 2d100 and keep the lowest for the hazard, but you gain a notoriety bonus of 1. 250 to 499, you are a bounty fella. You roll 1d100 normally for the job hazard board, and you have notoriety bonus of just 1 again. The next one, 500 to 999, no change except your notoriety bonus goes up to 2. From 1,000 to 1,999, you have an old bounty. Roll 2d100 and keep the highest on the hazard board.
Jeez.
And then great bounty is 2,000 gold and above. Again, roll 2d100 and keep the highest, and your notoriety bonus goes to its final stage of 3. So this influences, again, how people know you. This is the part that reminded me the most of like One Piece. Like, you have this bounty, and some people may play the game to try to get the highest level of bounty available. And that could be a really interesting way to play, where you're trying to be like wanted criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Or some of you may try to keep your bounty down. There are mechanics for like paying off guards, atoning for misdeeds that you've committed on adventures, whatever it may be. There's a lot of different ways to manipulate and change your bounty,
Mm-hmm.
which is super freaking cool.
Yeah.
And then there's after you finish the job, after you do your rollick, whatever, you can like hide out while you're doing the rollick. You can try to pay people off. You can try to contact contacts and things like that. There are so many fascinating mechanics for downtime and for affecting how you interact with kingdoms,
Mm-hmm.
authorities, people around you.
Yeah. We didn't even really get into the den mechanic.
No, there's so much more on here.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommend that you go to Acheron Games and check this out.
Hell
this
yeah,
is
dude.
such a fun setting.
A lot of stuff to think about. What's something you can see like pulling from this potentially?
Oh, definitely the bounty thing.
The bounty thing.
I think that's one of my favorite parts of it. Like, I'm not in a lot of campaigns where people would actively commit misdeeds.
Yeah.
But I think it would be really, really cool to just have that in the background of like,
If you do.
mm-hmm. Or if you go into a town where the leadership of the town is corrupt and they maybe blame you or try to pin something on you and give you a bounty.
Yeah.
Then you could that could be part of the next story arc as you try to go get it absolved.
Ooh. There's a situation currently unfolding in one of our campaigns where I could see the DM using something like this. But I'm hesitant to give them ideas.
I was going to ask you which one it was, but
I'll tell you later.
We're not going to say that on here. You don't get to listen to us talk about it.
But they know already. If they know.
They do.
Oh man, what an interesting little module. Hey, thanks so much for sitting through that with us. That was fun, and it was fun to receive that as a suggestion
Yeah.
in our little mailbox, our proverbial mailbox that is the internet, the Gmail, summongreaterpod@gmail.com. Or if you want to send us shit on Twitter, which nobody has, and frankly, I can't blame anyone for not using that shit.
Yeah.
It's at summongreater. Thanks a bunch for joining us. Join us again next week. I think we're gonna talk about Pokemon again, to be totally honest.
Probably.
See ya.
Bye-bye.